Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tim. So in today's video, you're going to see me paint these four queens coming up here. I wanted to do something a little bit fun and a little different today. I'm an avid movie and TV show watcher, and I thought it would be kind of fun to draw some of the things from the movies and TV shows that I love to watch and do a review on them. To kick this new series off, today's episode is going to be a review of episodes 1 through 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 15. This includes the 2 opening episodes, the Queens in Heaven episode, and the Snatch Game. This episode does include major spoilers, so if you don't want anything spoiled from the show for you, I would stop watching now, and I'll give you a couple seconds to click off. So, starting off the series with episodes 1 and 2, which I am so glad that we got both of them at once. It made viewing it a little bit nicer. It was kind of cool to get to see them all introduced together sooner. I always kind of hate it when they do a 2-part opening and we have to wait a week before we get the next set of queens. It kind of turns into, what was it, season 13, where it felt like we had 100 episodes to even start the series. So I really think that if they're going to have a talent show in the first episode, that's great, but they should really give all of the queens that episode as kind of a freebie. I don't think it's really fair to the queen that has to go home on episode 1, especially if the talent show goes really wrong. I don't think it's a very good indication sometimes of what all that person can do or really get to show much of anything. I did want to mention it. I thought it was kind of funny and weird that everyone was so young in this season, or from Connecticut, or both. So walking into the workroom, the biggest standout outfit-wise for me was definitely Malaysia Baby Doll Fox. That Fox outfit was incredible, and that's actually the queen you see me drawing now. It was one of my favorite looks coming into the workroom. That's been on in quite a while. Sasha Colby was also great to see. Mistress Isabella Brooks' outfit was incredible. I really loved Anitra's look too, and I think the gag of having Sugar and Spice on this season together was fun and surprising. I can't imagine taking part in such an incredible competition just in general. Not only that, but getting to do it with a sibling. It would be kind of surreal. From seeing them on TikTok and YouTube, it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the competition, how they deal with it together, and how their storylines play out. I also wanted to mention when they were in the workroom, first with Irene and Lux, I think Irene came across a little too strong. I understand the shady, funny shtick they were going for, but I think going after her for that 40 inches repeatedly, it just came across as a little off-putting, especially because we don't really know her and it's the first episode. I could already tell that the producers were either setting her up to be really amazing in the talent show or terrible, and we're trying to set her up to go home. So I really have to hand it to all of them. In the opening of the talent show, the choreographed routine ended up looking fantastic. I really couldn't tell anyone apart, but they all looked great together. The standout from the talent show, of course, in first place for me was definitely Anitra. It was unexpected. The dance and the song were both fantastic. Everything was amazingly choreographed and timed. I thought that this was one of the first times that a queen has done their own song. I thought it was absolutely perfect. I thought her incorporation of her taekwondo and jujitsu-esque moves was the cherry on top of a wonderful performance. The second huge standout of the night for me was Jax when they started jump roping with her hair. That was so much fun and so shocking. I'd never seen anything like that before anywhere. It was so incredible to watch. Some of the other standouts for me in the show definitely was Princess Poppy and Petunia. That tumor was absolutely hilarious and unexpected. Both Sugar and Spice were pleasantly surprising, and both of their raps were hilarious. And there were several other enjoyable music tracks from several of the other queens, which was kind of surprising because usually self-made tracks are usually terrible, but this time there was a lot of fun stuff in it. So going into episode 2, which was different than what I was expecting in the way that they had it set up, they were definitely pushing Sasha Colby in front of Michelle not doing well, which in the end result ended up being completely the opposite. I don't remember as much from this episode except for the fight between Sugar and the rest of her group, and I thought it was kind of weird that and surprising that they didn't let Sugar talk more and try to help because of their experience creating so many skits, which the end result definitely showed a lack of cohesion between all their members. So getting into the groups, the first team, Anitra was hilarious. Sasha ended up being so funny and a definite standout this episode. The next snapping bit was so unexpected, and it got funnier and funnier as the skit went on. But I'll tell you what, the line that sticks with me the most, even now, was Lux saying to Marcia, "You're wearing just enough makeup." That almost got me to do a spit take, and I really thought it was genius that the whole skit made heaven in Palm Springs. Unfortunately, Team Amethyst was a slight train wreck. Most of the jokes weren't landing and were coming across as very crude. The only standout in that team that made them slightly funny was Lucy's Dolly Parton, which was great. I can't wait to see what else he pulls out of his bag of tricks. I'm excited to see what Lucy does. I think she's really going to surprise us. So going on to Team Leftovers, they got lucky in having Sugar because Sugar was the only one who had an actual character. I don't really remember the other ones in the group. I remember the bit where they like copied all of those other queens, but unfortunately I don't really remember it because it wasn't very funny. I do think that while Jax and Poppy were the worst, and Jax definitely belonged in the bottom, Poppy's outfit was way worse. It felt like there was no time or effort put into it, and with the other outfits on the stage, and unfortunately, I do think they deserve to go home this episode. So, episode 3, The Snatch Game. In comparison, this season was marginally better than last season. It was actually kind of shocking that we got this episode so early, and it was kind of nice to see what everybody was going to do for their characters. The two standouts from this episode were definitely Marcia and Lucy, and I'm so glad that Lucy won because her Joan Rivers was spot on hilarious, so quick-witted, and the mannerisms were great. I think Joan would have been very happy if she could have seen it, and will definitely rank as a fantastic performance when people talk about the Snatch Game in this episode. I also think that Marcia's Tim Gunn was really funny and really witty. Definitely unexpected. I actually didn't recognize who it was. I was like, who on earth is that? So they did a really great transforming into Tim Gunn. So I can't talk about this episode, unfortunately, without talking about the disaster that were Sugar and Spice. This kind of broke my heart a little bit. Trisha Paytas, unfortunately, was just a bad choice to begin with. Trisha isn't known to be super funny in like a stand-up, badumch kind of way. She's more of like a situationally funny person. But poor Spice, who is the one of my favorites, unfortunately owes Miley a Rupology because it was really hard to watch. And unfortunately, when this happened, I knew that the two of them were going to be in trouble, which as far as TV goes, I knew that the producers would want the two of them together to get a showdown. I knew they would want to put them in the bottom together to get a showdown. I do think that Sugar going home was sad, unfortunately, but it was going to be one of either of them. I do think Spice has had slightly better outfits and makeup this season so far, but Spice's Miley definitely was the worst of the two Snatch Games, and unfortunately Sugar's Trisha was just not very funny, which breaks my heart that we're losing one of them so soon. It's going to be interesting to see Spice's journey without Sugar there. Which brings me to the end of my review. Thank you so much for watching, and please note that these are just my opinions. They're not serious. They don't really mean anything, but I have so much fun watching this show, and I've been watching it for so long. I just thought it would be kind of fun to do a review of this new season. So definitely let me know below if you like it. I don't mean any harm to anyone by any of these opinions. This season overall has been so enjoyable and fun to watch, and I'm so excited to see them switch it over to MTV because that's going to make the platform even bigger and more mainstream. Although it's kind of annoying to have so many different streaming platforms. And I did also want to mention too, I think it's really annoying that the episodes are cut down, and you can definitely tell. Some of the interpersonal connections that were present in some of the past seasons are missing, and that's really what got us to love the show and love each queen. So I think moving forward, the show really needs to add some of that time back in. I think it's kind of detrimental to the show. The interactions feel rushed. I also think that Untucked has been feeling rushed recently, and that goes far beyond what we're just seeing now. The episodes have been getting shorter and shorter as it goes along, and I think it's kind of silly to pay $3 for barely 20 minutes of talking. But I would love to know what your opinion on the show is. So far, I think it's been great. I definitely want to review the next 3 or 4 episodes together. I think it's just easier to do them more as a cluster rather than trying to break them apart and draw one queen per episode. It's just too much work. That way it gives me some more time to draw each of the queens. If you have any suggestions of queens you'd like to see next, I definitely have a couple of ideas, but if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear below. And I am so looking forward to what's to come this season and the next batch of episodes to review. I definitely have a couple more TV shows, movies, and series that I would love to do a review and draw something from. If you have any suggestions, I would love to know too what you would like to see. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video, friend.